All right, and we are back here on the GSMC Sports Podcast. And for the second part of the show, we are now going to talk about the wide receiver deals that have happened over the course of this free agency signing period. And recently, we had some new deals. DeAndre Hopkins signed a 1 year deal with the Baltimore Ravens. So the Ravens, they needed another pass catcher, and he spent some time with the Titans the last couple years and got traded to the Chiefs mid-season. And he did have that big drop in the Super Bowl that maybe he catches that. Maybe, the game looks a little bit different because, that was a big play in the game. And maybe the Chiefs would have scored some points on that drive, and who knows. But, I mean, the way the Eagles were playing, it really wouldn't have mattered. But yeah, so Hopkins, he signs a 1 year deal, not for that much, only $6 million. And look, he's not the same player that he once was. We understand that. But I do think he at least helps. And you look at his numbers from last season with the Titans before he got traded, 15 receptions, 173 yards, and a touchdown. He was banged up before the year started. I mean, he probably was still banged up throughout the year, but with the Chiefs, he had 41 receptions for 437 yards and 4 touchdowns. I do think where DeAndre Hopkins can help the Ravens out is, being a red zone threat. A guy that Lamar Jackson can throw the ball up to and make a nice catch. He could still do that. Now, like I said, he had that drop in the Super Bowl, but that's an area where I could see him thriving. Now, the Ravens do have Zay Flowers. They have Mark Andrews. I saw there's some rumors out there that being floated around that maybe they could trade Mark Andrews, but I'll have to believe it when I see it. Now, they do have a young tight end waiting behind him, and that's Isaiah Likely. So Isaiah Likely would step in. But right now, you still got Mark Andrews. You got Zay Flowers. Rashad Bateman as well. Rashad Bateman's coming off of a good year after they gave him a contract extension. And of course, when you get near the goal line, you have Lamar Jackson, but you do also have Derrick Henry. So Derrick Henry and DeAndre Hopkins reunited after they spent 1 year together in Tennessee. So I'm okay with it. He's like the number 3 wide receiver for the Ravens now. And I think that's fine. Not that it's not for that much money, and if it doesn't work out, it doesn't really affect them. It's for 1 year. So I do like that move for the Ravens, but I don't think that's like a significant needle mover. So along with DeAndre Hopkins, you also had Chris Godwin. Chris Godwin signed a 3 year deal with the Buccaneers, to re-sign with the Buccaneers. $66 million, $44 million guaranteed with a max value of $72 million with incentives. Now, I was a little surprised by this, and I just want to say, I know in the past I've said nothing surprises me, but I'm kind of lying, I guess. But Chris Godwin, before he got hurt, he was playing really well. And it looked like he was on his way to having his best career season. But then he gets hurt towards the end of that Ravens game. Many people were upset with Todd Bowles for not pulling him because the Buccaneers were playing catch up to the Ravens, and they left all their starters in. And Mike Evans got hurt in that game with the hamstring injury, but that was early on in the game. And then Godwin got hurt towards the end. So Godwin did only play 7 games. He had 576 receiving yards and 5 touchdowns. But he could have had his best season. Maybe close to what he had in 2019, or better than 2019. Because 2019 he finished with 9 touchdowns. He had 1,300 yards. He had 121 targets, 65 receptions. He had 50 receptions, and he had 5. And like I said, he had 5 touchdowns. But he comes back, and you got him. You got Mike Evans, And you got Jalen McMillan, who really stepped up in Godwin's absence. So I think that's good for the Buccaneers getting him back. And his best game on the year, it probably came against the Saints. He had 11 receptions, 125 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So yeah, I mean, really for the Bucs, I think it's about improving that defense. And they signed Hassan Reddick to a 1-year deal, so hopefully he can have a better year than he did last year with the Jets. He gets some more pass rush. Because you have Vita Vea up the middle. But you need, guys on the outside that can get to the passer. And they do have some young pass rushers on that team. But I think that's really what the Bucs have to address, is the defense. Go defensive heavy. Because you got 3 really good wide receivers. Well, I shouldn't say really good, but you have 2 really good wide receivers and, an up-and-coming wide receiver. Let's see what Jalen McMillan does in year 2. Because Mike Evans, Hall of Famer. Chris Godwin, very good receiver. Also a Super Bowl champion with the Bucs. And then look at the running game. Bucky Irving, how well he played last year. With Rachaad White, Baker Mayfield looked good in Tampa these last couple of years. The defense is where they need to improve. So that's something to keep an eye on during the draft. But bringing back Godwin, I'm a fan of it. Darius Slayton, this one was a little bit of a head scratcher. So the Giants re-signed Darius Slayton to a 3-year, $36 million contract. Now he's coming off of a year where he had 39 receptions for 573 yards and 2 touchdowns. I thought he was gone. I did not think he was coming back to the Giants. And why would he want to come back to the Giants? He's been on some bad teams since he got drafted back in 2019. But he wants to stay. He wants to be a Giant. And if the Giants could get better quarterback play, maybe he can have a better year. And it would not surprise me if the Giants do end up trading Jalen Hyatt. That would not surprise me. I feel like that could happen at some point. But you know what? I give Slayton credit. It shows that, in a world where loyalty is not like what it was in sports, there are some players that are still loyal. And also he did get, a good deal for himself. So I give him credit for that. But I don't know. I would have been okay with the Giants maybe moving off of him. But you could also say, what else would have been out there? What free agent was interested to come into the Giants that would have been better than Slayton? And there are still receivers out there. But would they want to come to the Giants? The Chiefs re-signed Marquise Brown to a 1-year, $11 million deal. That happened, before all the craziness. But, that's good, bringing him back, especially with, Rashee Rice coming off of injury. You need another weapon there. And I thought the Chiefs looked a lot better when they got him back. Obviously, then the Super Bowl happened. But, cheap deal, a full year of being healthy, he puts up better numbers. Joshua Palmer signed a 3-year, $36 million deal with the Bills. I mean, he's kind of the Mac Hollins replacement. So we'll see. And speaking of Mac Hollins, he signed a 2-year, $8.4 million deal with the Pats. Patriots needed more weapons on offense, and he's coming off of his best season, led the Bills in touchdown receptions. So that gives Drake May another weapon, but they still need to upgrade there. Patriots have made a lot of moves, but they've been mainly on defense. So now we go to who is left when talking about the free agent wide receivers. So Cooper Kupp is going to be one of them. Where is he going to end up? You hear Jacksonville could be a possibility. I know Dallas, there was a rumor floating around that maybe Dallas could be in on him, but I feel like a lot of people are going to say Jerry's not going to want to sign him. Jerry's not going to open his wallet for Cooper Kupp. it's going to be interesting to see where he could go. But looking at some of the other wide receivers, Stephon Diggs is still out there. Keenan Allen is still out there. Amari Cooper is still out there. Tyler Lockett, Brandon Cooks, Mike Williams, Robert Woods. There's still some names out there that could help out a contender that maybe needs another receiver. We'll keep an eye on it. Diggs is probably, other than Cooper Kupp, I would probably say Diggs is like the next big name that's out there. And Keenan Allen's been talking about, either going back to LA or going back to the Bears. The Chargers, they didn't address the receiver position yet. They brought in Najee Harris to improve the running game. Well, they brought him in as a replacement of J.K. Dobbins. It could be argued whether or not he improves it or not. But Keenan Allen is out there. They want to bring him in on a cheap deal. Or maybe Harbaugh wants to continue to build through the draft. If not, Keenan Allen's going back to the Bears. And I think he should, because I think the Bears are going to be better next year. But that's my opinion. So, let me know what you guys think, though, about the wide receiver deals. What was your favorite? What was a head-scratcher for you? Let me know in the comments. I would say the Darius Slayton one was a bit of a head-scratcher, but listen, if the Giants can get stability at the quarterback position in some way, shape, or form, and Slayton had that good game against Seattle. Darius Slayton has had some big games, but it's kind of inconsistent. But you could also say it's because of the quarterback play with the Giants. So before we go to break, just want to remind you guys once again to tip or donate, get your comments recognized. Make sure to hit that super chat button in the chat if you want to see me acknowledge any thought or comment you may have throughout the live broadcast. Makes the show more lively, more entertaining between myself, the host, and you guys, the viewers. We appreciate you guys' viewership each and every day, so any contribution you can make to the show means the world to us as we put out content for you guys each and every day. And also, the other way to help out the show is by going to the link at the bottom of the show segment on the ticker, GSMCPodcast.net. That is GSMCPodcast.net. So, when we come back from our next break, we will talk about the Eagles and the moves that have been made, guys that have departed in free agency, some trades that they've made, and how that's going to impact the team. So, with that being said, stick around, and we'll be right back here on the GSMC Sports Podcast.